This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Doc and Jock. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. If you've downloaded this podcast, grab a seat, get those earbuds, headphones in securely, and enjoy what's about to commence. Doc and Jock had themselves an amazing weekend. My goodness. The comedy that has also surfaced regarding what men do, it's really funny in that, it's 2020 and everybody wants men to be cultured, respectable, and then we go out and do stupid things online in front of women that just sets us back 50 years. Adam and I are here to talk about it. We're going to try our best to, speak eloquently on Jeffrey Toobin. I can't wait to talk about it. But first, oh my God, you give Doc and Jock glow sticks, alcohol, and let them have free reign at a wedding, and what happens is magic. I'll say this. I hadn't been drunk at a wedding in damn near 5 years. And the best part about going into your sister's wedding was I was giving your cousin the warning. I'm like, okay, Andrea, listen, let's be respectful. Let's be adults here. Let's not do and say anything that's going to embarrass us or get us into any kind of trouble. Let's go easy on the drinks. And then within 5 minutes, I'm slamming champagne off the wall there, which I've never seen before. So I was like, they had a beautiful setup right in the corner there. There was a bar, and right behind us where we set up for the cocktail hour, there was unlimited champagne that you could just go and grab yourself. So instead of being respectful, I went and, every helping was 2 and 3 glasses.
Oh, you were shit-faced. I showed up and I seen you. I kind of waved at you because I was running around like a madman before like the cocktail hour, getting pictures and stuff settled and moving bottles of liquor all around. And I walk in and you are just 10 sheets to the wind already.
Yeah, but cocktail hour started at 5. By 5:20, the buzz was starting, and it was awesome, man. And so by 8 o'clock, oh my Lord, man, we were drinking Hennessy straight shots, whiskey sours, beers. I was dancing up a storm, having a good old time, but eventually it catches up with you. And by 10 o'clock, your boy gets to the restroom, and then I'm like, I don't exactly know where I am. I know I'm in a restroom, but I don't exactly know, you lose your bearings. And I sit down in a chair, and then I had my wife's phone, and then you do the thing you don't want to do. You start texting people. I'm lost. I texted people the photo in front of me. I said, I think I know where I am, but I don't exactly know what's going on. And I sent it to like 5 different people, and I'm like, everyone's like, what's going on? And, the wife, all I remember, and there's the first time in a while where moments start getting fuzzy around 10 o'clock. I'm like, wait a minute. I remember going to the bathroom. I remember sitting down. Don't remember texting anybody. The next thing I know, you show up, and you're way out there as well. And we're sitting there just chatting it up, having a good old time on the couch. And it was just really, to do that on a Saturday was unbelievable. Let loose a little bit. And I had a blast getting drunk, having a good time. And it was a fun wedding, top to bottom, to the point where, like I said, by 10 o'clock, I was laid out on a chair. And then eventually we ended up going to another restaurant. I don't even know how we got to that point.
So that's the best part. So you're done by 10 o'clock. By the time the wedding ends at midnight, we end up at a bar. And by the time 1 o'clock rolls around, and I give you all the credit in the world, you are passed out at the table. I was trying to get a picture, and then right as I was about to snap the picture, you woke up. So you're sleeping at the table. I don't know if you remember this. You're sleeping at the table, just snoring loud, so loud. You end up waking up, and the thing is, you got to get up the next morning. You got to cover the Lions.
I got to work. Exactly. So
I didn't go to bed till 4 o'clock that night. I'm assuming you went to bed right whenever you got home, which was probably closer to 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
And then you had to get up around 7, 8 o'clock to cover the Lions.
Oh, you wake up and you're just like, it happens all the time. Every time I drink or have a little bit too much, I wake up early. So I'm operating on like 4 hours sleep, and you woke up. Thankfully, no headache. It was just that feeling of just feeling utterly gross. And I was like, oh. But thankfully, we let it rip, man. It was a good win, and it was great to cover a winning game. And luckily, you do what you got to do. You drink your water. You lay down a little bit. There's a good 4-hour window from like 9 to 1 where you can get a lot of stuff done and then just kind of let it rip a little bit for the game. But yeah, it's the day after is not the same anymore. But the best part is, like I said, is that you do stuff that you don't have no recollection of. You're like, wait a minute, I did that? I sent that? And yeah, I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember much of the bar. I'm like, we went to a bar? What do we do? And Andrew's like, yeah, you ordered, well, holds true. The Arab orders fries. I'm like, I ate? And she's like, yeah, you ordered a whole plate of waffle fries. I'm like, okay, there you go. So it was a great time.
The best part, was Andrea filling you in on all the things you did the night before? Because like Alyssa was filling me in on everything that I did. And I was like, I did what? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, at a certain point, you just need to tell me to shut up and go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. No, she wasn't. She was just like making sure I was okay because I passed out in the Uber. We had to wait half hour. When you guys left, the Uber ride had to take 30 minutes. So the bar closed at 2. We didn't get out of there till 2:30. We had to wait. He came from Grosse Pointe to pick us up. Yeah,
that's nuts, man.
Yeah, and that's a tough wait when you're waiting and you're wobbling and you're just like, oh my Lord. But yeah, I would assume that it was at least 20 drinks all the way through, and at least 6 of them within 20 minutes.
Yeah, you were. When I showed up and I seen you, you were already feeling pretty good.
I was into it, and that's the best part too. Is that you know what? You just reconnect with stuff you've never drank in a long time. Canadian Club, Hennessy, shots. It was like, whoo-wee. What was your experience like? Because you were in the wedding.
It was a good time, man. So it was kind of a bit of a stressful day because I had to get up way too early for some pictures that got started extra late. You know how you guys roll. Arab time is always like an hour later than what it's supposed to be. So everything was super delayed. And then from the groom's house where I got pictures, I had to run over to my sister's house to get pictures. And then from there, I had to get to the actual wedding. I was supposed to go meet the guys at Petrozello's to drop our cars off. We were all supposed to show up at the church together. That got scratched because the pictures took too damn long. I ended up getting to the wedding just about on time. I got there probably about 10 minutes early, 10 minutes right before the wedding started. Then the wedding kind of got underway, and you seen at the wedding I was running around to get other things because things were forgotten and left. So I had to go and track that stuff down. So it was nuts. But what I'll say is once the wedding was done, I could kind of kick back and relax a little bit, and I was on Easy Street. I was able to get my prediction into you while I was riding around in a limo getting yelled at by my sister for not drinking. I looked at her. I was like, what do you want? I'm doing some work right now.
That's right.
And she's like, just come on and have a good time. And I was like, zip it.
It's going to happen soon enough.
You get two Straczynskis going at each other. It's crazy.
Well, I want to let everybody know what you're not supposed to do because I did something that was unintentional that revealed me and Jeffrey Toobin are similar in some ways. So part of the night was spent with me and your uncle checking out other ladies. So at this point in time, I've somehow secured my wife's phone, and me and Brian are having a conversation about this lovely young lady in a green dress. And anybody wearing green is going to catch my attention. Yeah. So what I proceed to do is this to kind of give my review to Brian. I'm like, okay, she's give my review of what I think of her. Well, all of a sudden, I proceed to snap a couple photos of her when she's right in front of me. Now, my intended consequence, because I'm a nice guy, was to send them to Brian. So we can relive our adventures and things like that. Lo and behold, I wake up the next morning and I had sent them to my wife. I text my wife's phone the pictures that I had taken.
What?
Yeah.
Such a scumbag.
Yeah.
What did she say?
She's like, why are you? She's like, why are you sending? I'm like, oh, I was just reviewing her dress and things like that with Brian, and that's that. I said, oops, and that's that. You don't go into detail in terms of the things that were said because I know they were not on par with class or anything like that.
No. Yeah. You're definitely not classy.
No, it was not classy. So yeah, I'm
just like Jeffrey Toobin.
Just like Jeffrey Toobin. The doc is over there creeping, taking photos, sent it to the wrong person. Luckily, like I said, luckily Andrea's funny and she knows, what are you going to do when I'm 2 sheets to the wind? And when you see a 41-year-old dude with glow sticks partying it up, it's, he's having a good time. So I said, yeah, me and Brian, we talked about the women there. We reviewed her dress and reviewed her outfit, and I didn't tell her. Me and Brian probably shared a little bit of what we want to do with her, but that's that. That's that. It's no here nor there, right?
Was she your number one?
No. There were a lot of good. There was a lot of good looking women there. We just like I said, she was just very attractive. Like I said, nice 5'8", good figure. Everything was perfect. So yeah, me and Brian were not being respectful at that moment.
No, not at all.
Just like Jeffrey Toobin. Oh,
good segue. Perfect segue.
Just like Jeffrey Toobin. And look.
By the way, so far I think we're doing a very good job. I'm under a decree to filth this episode up just a little bit by my girlfriend's dad.
Yeah, he listens.
He listened to a couple of our podcasts, and he was like, "Look, could you filth it up this week a little bit?" And I think we're doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll ask because we've gone in a lot of different directions. What kind of filth is he looking at? He wants us to review things, or what does he want us to talk about?
He enjoyed the quip from last week where I talked about 8 Mile prostitutes.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I think this next topic that we're about to talk about, where I believe Toobin is going to become a new adjective for pulling on your wiener, I think this is the direction he wants us to go. So,
absolutely.
If you want to set the scene, I'll allow you to set the scene.
Absolutely. But I will say this: the reason why I don't get in trouble is because when I got with my wife, okay, here's the secret, man. If you're listening and take notes. I told my wife, I said, look, if a woman asks me if I think she's hot, and she is, I'm definitely going to tell her. I'll give you my word. I will never cheat, never stray, do any of that kind of stuff. But I'm a guy. I'm going to look. I follow whoever I want on Instagram. She's never once gone on my phone. Never once. Because if you look at my social media accounts, you're going to be like, dude, this guy got a problem? And I was like, yeah, I'm a guy. And I like to look at women, and women are my weakness and my kryptonite. But I told her up front, this is biology. This is normal. This is normal behavior. What has to happen is a guy's got to choose to be faithful, and a guy's got to put aside his piggish nature, because men are pigs. And what happened is in the last 5 years, men's piggish behaviors has now been called out and has been told by certain groups and parties that, hey, this is not acceptable anymore. Well, it takes time. We can't get refined in 5 years, because when we drink, we take pictures of other women and send it to each other. Okay? That's what we do. And so now Jeffrey Toobin, little problem is he's 60 years old and hasn't figured out how to use Zoom. And I sent you also, this whole Zoom revolution has been fascinating in that now kids are going to school. I sent you I think I sent you the tweet where a mom basically, showed up on her kid's Zoom at school, buck-ass naked.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's crazy. And she's like, hey, what's that? Oh, my God, turn that off. And it's like, we haven't mastered how to wear a mask over our nose properly. Can we really expect that we know how to turn the camera on and off for Zoom? I mean, come on, men. So Jeffrey Toobin, for those that don't know, is a respected prior legal analyst for CNN. This is somebody who's covered big-time cases, is somebody that's esteemed, gets regular hits that go on TV. And he's on a conference call with a bunch of older female colleagues. And by and large, he's probably in one of those zones that we all get in where you're just like got a raging boner for like 20 minutes. You can't think of anything else. You're distracted. And you're like, dude, whatever. I got this pressure. I got to let one rip. Fine. No problem. But
there's raging pressure.
There's a raging pressure he's got to deal with.
Like it's a geyser ready to explode.
He's got a problem that he doesn't, know how to get rid of. So he forgets, unfortunately, to turn off his Zoom camera, and he exposes his junk to his colleagues. And not only that, really, that part is repulsive enough. That'll get you in big trouble. He's seen jerking it in front of his colleagues. The height of ridiculousness.
I think you're forgetting probably arguably the best part. He's not like he's using porn on his computer. He's on like a phone sex line. Like, I didn't even know those things still existed. This guy is paying like $9 a minute for some chick to talk in his ear to get him revved up so he can sit there and splatter all over a napkin or himself.
Oh, really? That's what he's doing during the meeting? Like,
yeah.
He was dual tasking?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that part. Oh, yeah, my God.
He wasn't watching porn. He was on a phone sex line, and he was getting talked to by whoever was on the other end, and that's what got him aroused, and that's what got him ready to spank his monkey.
And see, and this is all the while he's doing something else on a Zoom meeting.
Well, I mean, he's a great multitasker, obviously.
Yeah.
Doing a Zoom call, having phone sex, and jerking it. I mean, great multitasker, right? This man should be unstoppable, yet he can't forget to turn his camera off.
The best part was he said he accidentally pulled it out. You know, the part I can't get rid of is the.
How do you accidentally do that?
Exactly. You're like, I gotta just do this thing, and then the thing that I wish that instead of getting suspended and things like that, what needs to happen is Tubin needs to sit in a room with these ladies and let them interview him about what they went through when they saw it, what they were feeling, and then let him answer like, listen, what were you doing? What were you thinking? At what point do you go, okay, I got it in my hand, I'm going to start taking care of business? Do you then go check to go, oh, shoot. And then the other thing you got to know is the moment you realize the camera's on, what is going through your mind? Like, are you like, oh my God, they saw it? Oh my God, do I just play it off? Do I just act like nothing happened? Because the first message has got to be, we saw your junk, bro, and something's wrong. So,
how do you play that off though?
How do you?
You're like, oh, that's not my wiener. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
That's not my dick in my hand.
Right. And so with human behavior, bro, that's not the first time he's done that. You know, that's not the first time he's been in a meeting and he's had the camera off and he's handled his business. So the women probably got to be highly disgusted, highly offended at his behavior. But here's the most ridiculous part. If you're going to do that, okay, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it, but you have to quadruple check that your name is on the screen and if the light is lit, you got to keep it zipped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you know what I mean? If the lights are on, you don't whip it out.
Hey, there's a saying for 2020. If the light is lit, keep it zipped.
Keep it zipped. You know, you got to make sure. What I would have done is I would have put tape over it. I would have triple checked. Okay, there's nobody that can see me. And then bottom line, if you just got to take care of business, ladies, sorry, I got a pressing phone call. I need 5 minutes. I need like 2 minutes, ladies. Sorry, we have to adjourn for something. My wife is calling. Now, the other part, too, is here's the worst part when these scandals happen, is that people pile on. I guess he's had extramarital affairs and he's had kids. He had to take a DNA test. If you don't do this stuff, then your whole dirty laundry of history of stuff you do, I guess he's into weird, kinky stuff, like you said, on these phone lines. His whole history, you can't put him on the air. And the fact is that he's still, as of Wednesday afternoon, has not been suspended, is crazy. How is this guy operating? And you see, I think the crazy
There's no way he comes back. Like, there's no way he comes back.
There's no way he comes back, right?
He's like his suspension will be like indefinite.
His suspension will be indefinite, and it's a shameful thing that he did. But, it goes to show you that, look, Jeffrey, you've set us back. Doc and Jeffrey have set the movement back. Guys, we're expected now to act in a much more respectful manner than we have been, but it's just going to take time, ladies. Look, from time to time, we just want to put it in our hands and handle business, and sometimes it's in a meeting. Sorry.
So now, from now on going forward, do we refer to jerking off as JTing, Tubin, as Tubinit? How do we, what adjective do we take from this?
Oh my gosh!
There's so many different directions you can go with this.
Yeah. Oh my God! The one I think Lubin with Tubin.
Lubin with Tubin.
Oh man, it's just it's embarrassing at the highest level to do that publicly. But it really, and the problem is, okay, men have been pigs for years, but most men have figured out how to do it on the slide, not so overtly. When a guy does it like this, it puts...
this coming from the guy who's taking pictures of some chick at his cousin's wedding and sending them to his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. We figured it out, John.
Oh, so you're saying that women still know that we're pigs and they're just now openly...
They know.
They know?
They know. We just don't do a very good job of trying to hide it.
Yeah. But see, I think now they want to change it, though, right? Isn't the whole movement now like be respectful and don't objectify us and don't look at us like that, don't talk about us, don't look at us, don't eye us, don't side-eye us, don't take our photos, right?
Yeah, you should respect that.
Oh, well, all right. Some don't.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You're a guy, I'm a guy. If you see something pretty, it generally catches your eye.
Yes.
All right. That being said, you don't have to lead her and you don't have to be a creep. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Also, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the more attractive of a guy you are, the more creepy you're kind of allowed to be. Like the ladies let you kind of get away with it, which I think is a little bit of a double standard, especially for us uglier guys. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that it's like I said, we're getting there. We understand the message. We understand what we got to do. But there will be times where men will do stuff like this, and we have to explain ourselves that sometimes you just got to let it rip, and sometimes you just got to do it in a meeting. But the part that I think everybody was catching on to was the women that were on the screen weren't really that attractive. You know, these are older women, like in a situation. So
maybe he's into that gilf porn.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, that's the part. That's the part. Yeah, that's the part that's so unusual. Was like usually you're not supposed to be on those kind of adult lines when you're working. So that's kind of creepy. That just really is creepy to be doing that kind of stuff when you're at work and trying to multitask. But sometimes you just got to call in and spend some time with yourself if that's what you need, right? Just call into work. I'm busy, to turn off the camera. Or, like I said, it's not that hard nowadays to turn off the camera. Because, the first thing I thought was, every time you're invited to Zoom, it says join with camera, join without. So you should always, rule of thumb, join without, and then turn it on later, instead of turning it on and then wondering if you're turning it off.
And you know how technology is. You can always just say, hey, my camera's messing up. You can mute yourself,
glitching.
And then just go take care of your business for 5 minutes and then come back cleaned up, and you should be good to go.
You should be good to go. Oh, Jeffrey, I feel bad for you and your colleagues, man, because now, do you think he ever, though, gets back on the air anywhere else?
No,
has he ruined his career?
I don't think this is the only way I can ever see him doing anything ever again. And it would only be in New York, because this would not fly anywhere on the West Coast. I don't think it'll fly anywhere else. It would have to be like New York, maybe New Jersey. I could see him doing something on some type of a radio show, not where he is front and center on TV. So I could see him being some type of legal analyst for, I don't know, some radio program in New York or in New Jersey, and that's about it. I don't know how you come back from this.
Yeah, I think he's a candidate for now starting his own thing, Yeah,
I mean, he's going to have to, right?
Exactly. And then if you need a laugh, if you're just having a rough day, you're working hard, go to the Barstool Sports tweet where it says CNN personality and New Yorker employee suspended for accidentally pulling out his during his work call. And the comments under there are so funny. Jeffrey Tuggin, Lubin Tubin, the best. They're really the best comments. Accidentally had a bottle of KY handy. What had happened was I was moving money from my savings to my checking. Happens to the best of us. This one's great. It actually happens more than you think. The male penis has certain rascalness about it.
like it's a snake or a lizard.
See, Colton tweets, "We've all been there."
No, we haven't.
Common mistakes these days. Like I said, the Bills comment was the best. I've never accidentally pulled it out.
Right.
Whoops, ladies. Sorry, this just isn't my day.
I had a it was like a Zoom interview for a job the other day. And it was like me and like 13 other people. Could you imagine if I whipped my wiener out in that thing? Exactly. It like I didn't even get aroused during this. Like,
exactly.
That just doesn't happen.
There are no accidents when my Johnson is involved. Oh my God! Here we go. It was for Harambe though.
Harambe. For those who don't remember, Harambe was the gigantic gorilla that was murdered.
No, we got it. We got his nickname. He was feeling real cocky. The cocky Jeffrey Tubin. Oh, boy. There you go. And, there you go. Heard he was beating it like he stole something. This is a touchy subject. Oh, boy. So
I think beating it like he owes something is a perfect segue to talk about the Lions.
Yeah, that's good.
Because the Lions beat the Jags like they owed them something.
No doubt. Thank goodness, man. The Lions needed the victory as much as any team in the National Football League. Whew, it was good, too, because it was expected. And you didn't play a close game. You got on them early from the first jump. So, like I said, you can't take a lot away from it because the Jaguars are so bad. Because, for those that are extrapolating, the good thing it was that the Lions adjusted their defense, played a lot more zone, and had more pressure. The problem is now we need to see, can they execute that against a better football team? The Jaguars, because bad football is brutal. when you got Gardner Minshew who can't find an open receiver. They're making mistakes. There's no holes.
Dude, in that game, that guy wasn't even looking for a receiver. He was just throwing to blobs on the field. He was just trying to find a spot, put a ball there, and hopefully his receiver could run up underneath it. I've never seen such bad quarterback play.
Yeah, everything about it was the performance. I just felt like Doug Marrone is a little bit better coach than what was shown, and the Lions thankfully took advantage, and at least we got to see a breakout performance from a high draft pick. DeAndre Swift got a 54-yard runoff, got over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, had some accolades. Kenny Galladay made some catches. But unfortunately, like I said, it's not a real test because the Jaguars just are inept in every category possible. But I got to ask you this, though. A couple takeaways that people are talking about kind of center around, now that DeAndre Swift has put that on tape. Darrell Bevell was asked by the media, okay, people are going to now maybe be calling for DeAndre Swift to get more touches. And he went with the company line and really kind of poo-pooed the performance and just said, DeAndre hit the hole, but a lot of our running backs could have hit the hole. And he's like, look, we got a kind of strategy where Peterson's going to start. We got the plays that we're going to call. And in essence, they're not going to just come out and say, we're going to feature Swift and get him 15 touches. But if that's what you need to do, you got to find a way. Game in, game out, there's a sweet spot. 15 carries, 5 to 6 targets in the passing game should produce some productivity. This game, I guess, for everybody that didn't see it, probably shows and highlights why the Lions drafted Swift. They need to use him more, right? They will.
Absolutely.
It's just lip service, right? They didn't want to pump him up and things like that. They want to keep everything in-house and even keel. They're going to use Swift more, right? They need to.
I hope so.
Yeah.
This is the one thing I took out of this game, right? I don't care if Adrian Peterson is your starting running back. That doesn't matter to me. You can have a specific set of design plays for Adrian Peterson. But like you said, you need to get DeAndre Swift the ball almost as much as possible. At least 20 touches a game, whether it be 15 on the ground and 5 through the air or 10 and 10 or 17 and 3. I don't care. He needs to touch the ball more. He is too dynamic of a player to not be involved in this offense. And Adrian Peterson is going to go down Hall of Famer. He's great. But where this team is at right now, the reason Adrian Peterson should be on this roster is to help coach up and give a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of insight to some of these younger guys while going out there and making use of his limited playing time. And the key word there is limited. It should really be DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson with a dash of Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson should be your bully when you're down in the red zone and you're on the 1 yard, maybe the 2 yard line. That's where Adrian Peterson should really come in. I don't care if he's a touchdown vulture. That's fine. DeAndre Swift should be getting the bulk of these carries. Yes. And then if you want, sprinkle in a little bit of Kerryon Johnson so he doesn't get beat up and injured and end up on IR again. But really and truly, Darrell Bevell, you have to, after this game, you have to realize that you have something here and utilize him to the best of his abilities and put him in a spot to succeed. I think that's the one thing that all of us have been opining for forever and a day now is we've got guys who are talented. You just have to put them in spots to succeed. And look, Jacksonville, like you said, is an unmitigated mess. They are not a good football team on either side of the ball. Yep. And he's right. Just about any running back on that roster could have hit that hole. But here's the thing. You have a guy like DeAndre Swift. You invested a second-round pick in him. You need to feature him more in this offense. It is imperative that you do that. And I think the more you get him involved, the more his confidence grows, the better running back he becomes, the better this offense gets. I mean, this team is basically on a win-now decree from ownership. Best way to help you win is to have your best players on the field. And this is something I wanted to talk to you about. This game, this Jacksonville game where they look so dominant, and yes, we've already talked about how bad Jacksonville looked, but does this set back us getting Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn out?
Yeah.
Is this one of those games where the organization is like, oh, look what they can do. They won a game, and they look great doing it.
And I think they knew, too, based on the schedule, that when Matt Patricia comes out and says we're going to play bad football in September, he just assumed that, hey, no preseason, young team, we got to gel it together, that he believed that and we said it, too, we previewed it, And we said that the middle portion of the schedule probably is the opportunity they can stack wins. And so had they lost, I thought that, yeah, the Heat would have been too hot. He would have been gone. But I don't think there was really going to be any scenario because Jacksonville handed them the game. So now what's happened is, and what will happen is, the next marker will be Thanksgiving. The organization has dismissed people before, after the Thanksgiving game. If the Lions don't at least play 500 ball the rest of the way, he'll be gone by Thanksgiving. So this game against Atlanta is pretty big. You get to 3-3, you're going to pretty much at least get yourself an opportunity to play well to get to those 7-8 wins, which I think will bring him back. So for those that wanted Patricia gone, yeah, this portion of the schedule is not going to be for you because the Lions are going to play a little bit better and they're going to stack up some wins. I think they'll play 500 ball. I think they're going to lose to Atlanta. They're probably going to lose to Indy, but then get wins the next couple games. So you have opportunities to be around 4-5, 5-6, and I think you're going to finish the season around 7-9 because, bro, that December schedule is looking brutal. Tampa Bay, Chicago, teams that are potentially in December, you might play all playoff teams, Green Bay, so it's going to be pretty tough that second half in December. So you better rack up, as many wins as you can to get to 7-8 at this point in time. So unfortunately, for those that wanted this to get blown up, you would have needed a loss against the Jaguars. It didn't happen, but we did get to see something on Monday night that was impressive to me. I called for it last week. You needed to have Andy Dalton not play well or the Cowboys look like absolute dog crap, and it happened. Will it be enough to make Jerry Jones pull the trigger on a massive deal? The word is no. They want to stick with Andy Dalton. They think that, a lot of the problems haven't really centered around Dalton. It's been Ezekiel Elliott who hasn't stepped up and been a leader. Fumbled twice.
Bro, Andy Dalton was absolutely horrible
he was,
on Monday.
He was, but he was put in some bad positions as well. Ezekiel Elliott fumbling twice. That defense didn't show up. So there's a lot more that I think people are talking about than Andy Dalton. So the worst part is you needed Dalton to throw like a couple more pick sixes. It can get worse. So, but I don't know if the real, as much as we want Stafford to be gone, I don't know if realistically the Lions are going to make trades because if you really look at it, if you're Bob Quinn and you're Sheila Ford, are you going to empower Bob Quinn to strip apart the organization? Probably not. And so what could happen?
But here's the thing too.
Yeah.
Like if you're Sheila Ham Ford, I mean, do you trust them to do that? Probably not. And if you're Bob Quinn and you're Matt Patricia, are you ready to kind of tear this thing down to bare bones? You're under a win now decree. So I think what you have here is you've got a conflict of interest. You've got what is probably best for this organization. And then you've got what is probably best for a guy like Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. Because realistically, unloading a guy like Matt Stafford to a place like Dallas for the Cowboys makes complete and utter sense for both the Cowboys and for Detroit. Getting rid of a guy like Marvin Jones to a place like, we'll say, Philadelphia. The Eagles need wide receiving help. They could give you a draft pick, and you could move on from Marvin Jones, who's probably done after this year. That makes complete sense. You're getting something for something that you're not going to bring back. So it only helps you by having more shots at a draft that is upcoming to help you out with rebuilding this roster. But I don't think that's what's best for guys like Bob Quinn, for guys like Matt Patricia, because they've got to win right now. So do you trust these guys to make these moves? I absolutely do not, because it's not in their best interest.
Okay. Going forward, going to be key. Pay attention. The likes of Marvin Jones, his play, the offense, the defense, do they step up and continue their aggressive play? All question marks that we got to see. I think the notion of the team blowing up, you might add one more pass rusher if you can get just a couple more wins. So the scenario that most likely will play out is the Lions maybe add a small piece in terms of a defensive pass rusher and then go from there and then you stand pat. I don't see a plethora of moves because you're going to be 2-4, 3-5 in that neighborhood, 4-5, right around mediocre. Not bad enough to blow them out, not good enough to add significant pieces in contracts. As we progress, though, a growing storyline that we're going to touch on next week because we got to do a deep dive, Kenny Galladay's contract, because now he's starting to spout off. Now that means potentially he's starting to do his negotiating through the media. And we'll break that all down on the next edition of Doc and Jock because I'm not exactly sure that might have been the best move when you're negotiating with the GM from the Patriots and the system in which how they value players. So we'll talk about Kenny Galladay and the fallout from the Falcons game next week. Make sure you follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Thank you for subscribing. This is one of the only podcasts where you can get uncensored, unfiltered, and wild-ass Detroit sports talk. We thank you so much for downloading. Hopefully we didn't gross you out, but once in a while, we just got to let loose a little bit and have a little fun at the expense of the cocky Jeffrey Toobin. Peace out, cuz.
Don't get caught yanking your tubing.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. You've just downloaded the latest edition of Doc and Jock.